Hello everyone and welcome to Evil Genius 2 World Domination Beginner's Guide. In this quick video I want to show you the essential tips you need to start your own evil empire. Let's get started. Advice number 1, choose your genius wisely. There are 4 geniuses in the game right now, each one of them with their own special abilities. The game is quite long and you're going through an extensive campaign, so you don't want to do that all the time just because you see that your genius is bad. Now each genius has its own specialization. For example, Red Ivan here is focusing on direct combat and control, so if you are focusing on a invasion focused game, then you definitely should choose him. On the other hand, if you want to go for more research and tech trees, then Salika is the right mind. Maximilian is in the middle ground, and with him you can work faster, you can have your minions work faster and thus speed up, for example, your dominion progress in the world. Now in the game itself, we are going to have a quick look at the interface. So first of all, it is advised to stop the game right when you're in it. You can do this by pressing the spacebar, and depending on the difficulty, you will soon face the first waves of agents. When looking at the interface, we can see that we have $40,000 right now, 5 energy, 3 minions in our lair. We have 0 broadcast strength, and we can also see the different layers of our base. And as we can see, we do have quite a few of them where we can build the base in. The first icon on the left lower side gives you 2 very important objects, and that first one is the objectives. So here you can find all the missions that you have available right now, also the appropriate side stories for that, and optional quests that you can do. And you should always look this one up and not turn in those quests right away, but rather save the rewards later when you need the money. So don't turn it in right away. If we are full at our vault capacity, then if you turn in a mission, you will not receive any dollar at all. Now, in the beginning, you have 1 genius available. This is the one that you've chosen yourself. We can actually move this genius around to our liking if we want to. If this character dies, the game is over. So always protect your genius the most. Your genius also has some certain effects that we can activate. So for example, with Maximilian, we could order minions to prioritize a job in its vicinity, so these people would work faster. We can work, we can move him around then. Wunderbar, he says. And we should definitely have him far away from all the entrances of the base in case of an attack, that he doesn't become the target of this attack. Now, when it comes to the build order, a couple of buildings are more important than the other ones. We got a lot of rooms available there right now. We have very limited amount of money and no way of actually earning money at this point. So we need to be very careful about how we place the first rooms. First thing I would always like to go for is another corridor. So we go up like this, a bit further away, and build our first room, which is the power station. Very important to build the power station first, because otherwise you get in a circle of doom if you don't have any electricity anymore, no buildings are working anymore, and you can also not build anything new anymore. So you always have to have enough power. We only have 5 power at the moment, so it's very important that we build this. For a room to build, we just lay it out like that by clicking on the power station, lay out the room, and we also need to lay out something for the door, and the doors always need 4 tiles into the room, right? And then we click on the item, but there we get now all the items that are appropriate to this room. When we start, we only have a couple of these available right now. I'm going to build a door first. Doors are very important to keep intruders away. Later you will get agents into your base that try to sabotage your power stations, for example, and thus you need doors and stronger doors later. And then I would place like 3 smaller generators that we can also have. Another important item that we have here is the incinerator. Now with the incinerator, we can burn bodies. That is right, we're going to need this quite soon. When you capture your first agents, you will need to torture them, and once they have been tortured, they are going to lie around in body bags. If that happens too long, well then the morale of your people drops. As soon as we click confirm, my minions will start to build this new layout. Now while that is happening, I would also like to go for the next important building right away, and that's the barracks. Your people want to sleep somewhere, and that is the barracks. I'm going to lay out the barracks, the basic ones, let's say here. Don't make these rooms too big, it's costing a lot of money. We can also see how much money it costs down here in the total menu, right? So 1,200 it would cost me right now. I'm going to once again have a door here, cost me another 500, and then for my starters, well, 2 double beds would be enough and 1 locker. The lockers depends on your minion capacity, and it's also increasing your capacity if you build more of them. Let's have 2 lockers there and 2 double beds. That's $6,700 right away, and as we can see, my money is starting to drop. While my minions are doing their diligent work, we should continue with the next room that we need in the beginning, and that is the mess hall. Without it, people can't eat, and you will soon have starving minions in your base, and you definitely don't want that. I rather place the mess hall in the center of your base, because, well, basically a lot of people want to eat, and you should keep the routes to your mess hall as short as possible. For the mess hall, I don't need a door because people can enter it whenever, and there's also nothing to sabotage in this one. Right, we can place one of them here. The mess hall, the mess table, does need a, well, staff point though. So there is the staff that is residing here then, and he's working on this mess table, and people can then eat here. And once again, we can confirm this, another $3,500 of our bank account. Now we still have 2 more important rooms that we should be building right now. The first one is the vault. In the vault we can store our gold and can thus increase our capacity. It is very important because whenever you reach 100% on your vault, you lose money essentially because we can't store it. Let's have the vault somewhere in the outer edges of the base as well. So somewhere like here we can have a smaller vault, another 4 tiles for the door. The vault should definitely have a door, and once we have researched it, some reinforced doors as well, and then some gold pallets. Now each one of them is increasing your gold limit by another 3,000. I'm going to build this one now, and that's costing me another $14,000. Now what we notice right now is that I'm going to run out of money now soon. There is a trick though, a very important trick in this game, and that is my inventory that we have over here. So all these crates lying around, abandoned crates, we can actually sell them by opening the building menu, and then I'm just going to click on them and sell them. This is $1,200, this is $1,250, and as you can see, money is piling up this way. Don't do it in the beginning right away when your vault is at 100%, otherwise you're going to lose all this money, right? So we're only doing this after we already spend a bit of our money. And as we can see, yep, we are piling up here now around 19,000 in cash, 20,000 in cash. That is fine for now. I can sell it. This is being sold then right away, and my minions are going to do the job. Now, while all that money, that juicy money is flowing in, we can use this one for the last important room that we need in the beginning, and that is the control room, the brain of our base. In the control room, we plan all the schemes in the world, and my minions do their, well, dubious things. And let's build a door for this one as well. Very important to have a door for this room, and also a reinforced door later because agents will try to sabotage it. And I'm going to build myself, I'm going to build here 2 radio repeaters, 3,000 each. That's another 11,000 credits off the bank, and yeah, we're pretty low on cash now, so it's about time to earn this cash. And a bit later my radio repeaters are working, and once again we have to use 2 laborers for that. We are at 26 minions in 26 in the lair right now, and it's about time to use the remaining minions that we have that have no jobs right now to scout on the world map. So let's get to the world map itself, and on the world map it is important to note that each one of these continents that we see, also with the different colors, has different factions, right? So we do have the Patriot faction in North America, we do have the Smash faction in South America, we do have the Saber faction in Africa, we do have the Hammer faction in Europe, and the Anvil faction in Asia and Australia. Now each one of these factions has certain traits, and each one of these factions is going to try and invade you and try to find intel about you once you start operations in their territory. So you need to be aware of all their different strengths and weaknesses in order to prepare for them. Now, since we have the northern base in the game, I would like to go for Europe as my first target, my criminal network, and I have now, because I have built 2 radio repeaters, I've got 2 broadcast strengths available. Right, so for each radio repeater I have 1 broadcast strength. So I can use now 1 to scout in Central Europe. We are going to lose 3 workers on that. And I'm also going to do the same thing on Eastern Europe, and once again I'm going to lose 3 workers on that. It's going to take a bit of time now because those minions will now run towards the helipad. And there we have them running off. And they will not be available anymore in our base. Very important to know, don't scout too far ahead of yourself, otherwise you will run out of minions in your base. And a little bit later, the helicopters are on the way and getting those bases ready for action. Now, once we have unlocked one of these territories, first of all, the first thing that is going to happen is that we're building up heat automatically. We're building this one up 20 every 5 seconds. It costs us as well. So also don't forget that you shouldn't have too many territories at once because it's costing us money. Besides salaries, also these upkeep costs are draining our money from now on. And yeah, it's time for the first scheme, and that is the money scheme. So there we have 2 available right now. Usually we have 2 of each one of them, and one of them usually is a very fast one. So this one is 15,000 that we would get in a very short amount of time, but we would lose 6 workers for this time, right? So very important to know this. The other one is rather long, 30 minutes, and it only requires 3 workers and has a bit more gold as well. It is important to note that you don't receive all the money at the end of it, but you're rather siphoning this money out of it during this duration there. So when I start this scheme, we start to get a bit of money here and there from this scheme over time, and after 3 minutes, in this case here, we do get 15,000 for the short one. For the long one though, we do get a constant supply of money until this one runs out. So let's start the long one in this area. Whereas in my other area, I'm going to do the short one with 15,000 for 3 minutes. And let's also launch this scheme. So I'm losing another 9 minions now. Important to know is that the bases, they consume the workers completely. So the 3 workers I've lost here and the 3 workers I've lost here. But for the schemes themselves, the workers come back after this duration, right? So we don't need to invest them permanently, or we don't lose them permanently. Now heat is building up, and this also increases from now on our heat tracker that we have, and when this one goes up, then we get the first invasion into our base. And what we can see now, the scheme is working, it's progressing, and we can also see this down here in the money as it is slowly going up. With the money that I received now, I would like to build one more radio repeater. Why? That you can see in a second. Let's build the third one. So now that I'm a bit well on the money again, we can build it. Because for this one we can take Rusher, and this is one of the biggest areas in this game, having Rusher, having also a lot of actions that we can have then here. And the first action that we want to have now after setting up the initial base is starting one of our major side stories that we have for one of our 4 specialists. So in this game we have 4 specialists, the valets, the guards, the scientists and the technicians. You need the guards for defending your base, you need the valets for distracting agents and having cover operations like a casino in your base. We have the scientists for research, and we have the technicians to repair your equipment that, well, goes down, of course, over time. The first important one and the most important one is the scientist, I think. So we are going to start the side story for the scientist. We're getting a little introduction for that, and after this one we can now have available, or we now have a scientist special mission on the map, and this is something we can do. And look, and lo and behold, in Russia we do have a science mission there as well. I don't need to abort now the other 2 siphonings of money because I'm relying on this money right now. We can now start the scientist mission on that, launch the scheme, another 5 workers it's consuming for us for now, and $2,000. Once we have the scientist, we can start with the research, and this is pretty important because you want to advance your base with new tech. While the special mission is on its way, we do need 2 more rooms, and these are the last rooms that we're going to build for now. The first one is the prison. In the prison, we're going to hold these specialists that we capture from the capture missions. Once again, I'm going to have a door here, and then a prison cell where we can hold the prisoner, and an interrogation chair. So we want to basically get the tax from them, right? We want to subvert that, and 22,000 it costs me. This is really expensive, so don't build it in the beginning, otherwise you will be out of money as fast as possible, as quickly as possible. This is the first one, and the other one is the laboratory. The laboratory, here we can do our research, and it is duly noted now, as we can see, we're filling our base with rooms. It is very important when we build or plan our base to leave some room between the rooms. Why is that? Because basically we can expand our base whenever we want, and we do need to expand it quite often, these rooms. If I want to expand, for example, my power area, then I would just have to collect or select the power station there, and then I can just drag and continue expanding my room like this one. I click on confirm, and I can thus enlarge my power station. And this is actually happening with a lot of rooms in this game, right? The mess hall here in the center, we're going to need this to expand quite often, and we can do this. So that's why I'm leaving a bit of room around it, like some storage that we can then have in the future. after a bit of time your base is going to grow into something big. And yeah, as we can see here, I do have my research, for example, set up, and I'm using my genius's ability of satirical to speed up research wherever she is. So always use your genius's abilities, because they basically work endlessly in the background and have a huge bonus on their appropriate things. Last but not least, I would also like to have a quick look at the shortcuts. So just for your information, if you press the R key, you open up your research tag right away. So this is pretty cool. If you press the B key, you open up your building menu right away. If you press the space bar, you can pause the game or unpause the game. If you press the G key, you get to the world map, and pressing the G key once again gets you back into the base itself. This is also pretty helpful. So those keys you should use quite often, because, well, you basically have to use these options often. So I hope with this guide I've helped you a bit. Don't forget, Evil Genius 2 is based on 3 major aspects you always need to manage. That is first and foremost your base management, having control of your rooms, of your energy, of your minions, of your labor force. The second one would be your cover operations that are in the front of your base, where you have your casino, for example, where you can distract agents and also get a bit of side cash from tourists. And the third major aspect is your operations on the world map, where you can continue and siphoning money, get specialists, and do special missions later on. The game truly offers a lot of content and lots of replayability thanks to all of the characters. I hope you enjoy it and wish you all the best. Cheers.